We're going to get the webinar going here in about 1 or 2 minutes, guys. We're just going to allow some time for some more people to filter in. And if you're just joining us, we're going to get started here in about 1 minute or so. We'll just give some folks a little bit more time to filter in. Okay, Morgan, I think we can probably get going here now. Just want to remind everyone to, if you could, please mute yourself if you aren't on mute, and we'll get going here. Morgan, are you ready for me to take off?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Adam. Thank you.
All right. Well, good afternoon and welcome, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for our webinar, Beyond the Crisis, Local and State Resources for Meeting the Challenges and Opportunities of the Post-COVID-19 Economy. I'm Adam Phillips. I am the Business Development Specialist for the Huntington Area Development Council, and with me is Morganne Tenney, Business Retention and Expansion Manager for Region 5, West Virginia Development Office. Morgan and I have spent much of the last 4 months working together with area businesses to address ongoing economic challenges related to COVID-19. And as you know, this crisis has had a profound impact on area businesses, as it has for businesses around the world. This has led to challenges and opportunities that are going to need to be managed for the foreseeable future. So the motivation behind today's webinar came about as Morgan and I saw a need to highlight local programs and services that could aid in the long-term recovery efforts of businesses. Resources launched as part of the Federal Stimulus Act, known as the CARES Act, have been primarily focused on delivering immediate relief to businesses impacted by the sudden decline of the U.S. and world economy. By and large, CARES Act programs, as we will discuss, weren't necessarily designed to help stabilize against the long-term impacts of COVID-19 or to capture the opportunities that are here now. So today's presentation is focused on our efforts to adapt local and state resources to meet the changing needs of our business community. Hopefully by the end of today's presentation, we can provide some insight into programs and services that will help your business adapt to recent challenges and to make investments in the post-COVID-19 world. So before we begin, we do have a few housekeeping items. Today's presentation will last about 45 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes, and there will be time at the end for a brief question and answer period. We ask that you please send any questions you might have to us in the messaging tool on the WebEx platform, which can be found at the bottom of the screen. Time permitting, all questions will be answered at the conclusion of today's presentation, or if we run short on time, by email follow-up. Everyone's audio has been muted for today's presentation, and we ask that you keep yourself muted, and please enjoy today's presentation. So before we get started, Morgan and I would like to more formally introduce ourselves. As I said, my name is Adam Phillips. I manage the Business Retention and Expansion Program for the Huntington Area Development Council, which we'll provide more detail on momentarily. I've been with the organization for nearly 3 years and have been in economic development for more than 5 years. I graduated from Ohio University with a master's degree in public policy, and I'm a certified economic development finance professional through the National Development Council.
Hi, everyone. I am Morganne Tenney. I'm the Business Retention and Expansion Manager with the West Virginia Development Office. So my role works as a liaison between existing West Virginia industries and the state government to support sustainability and the growth of our economy. My region covers a 12-county territory from Pleasants County over to Gilmer and all the way south to Wayne County. Relationships with county economic development organizations, such as the one I have with Adam and Hadco, is just critical to providing value to our clients. So personally, I graduated from West Virginia Wesleyan College with a bachelor's in marketing and a master's in business administration. And my background is in marketing and sales with experience in both the hospitality and higher education industries. I am a Putnam County resident, born and raised, and I'm just so grateful to work alongside such passionate, hardworking West Virginians like everyone on this call. So just thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Morgan. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about our organizations. So what is HADCO? HADCO, or the Huntington Area Development Council, is the designated local economic development organization for Cabell and Wayne counties. We are authorized to act on behalf of the county by the Cabell County Commission, and we coordinate much of our efforts with the West Virginia Development Office. Primarily, we're focused on 3 areas of development: business attraction, business retention and expansion, and asset and site development. For our business attraction efforts in 2019, HADCO actually participated in 11 marketing trips, including 2 foreign direct investment trade missions to Italy and Japan with the West Virginia Development Office, direct marketing trips with Advantage Valley, a regional marketing collaborative for the Huntington, Charleston metro areas, and 6 leading industry trade events with partners such as the Polymer Alliance Zone and the Huntington Tri-State Airport. Our 2019 business retention and expansion program efforts included more than 113 visits with 75 existing employers, helping to facilitate 7 expansion retention projects in 2019. And in 2019, our site development activities included projects such as the Service Wire Industrial Road Project, the Pea Ridge Public Service District Route 2 line extension, and the development efforts of HADCO Business Park. These efforts have allowed us to deliver value through added infrastructure to existing businesses in the area. So let me just briefly talk about those projects in a little bit more depth. The Service Wire Industrial Road Project was a big project for us, which will have a lasting impact in the Culloden area. HADCO actually helped secure the $1.3 million in West Virginia Industrial Access Road funds over a number of years. And the new and improved road at Service Wire opens up access to portions of this industrial site just west of the current facility and facilitates better truck access and traffic flows into and out of the facility. If you look to your right, you'll see a map. This is the Pea Ridge Public Service District line extension project to Route 2, which is going to add 45 sewer service to 45 businesses along State Route 193 and Route 2, supporting employment in the region, including the more than 1,000 jobs represented at the Kyle Lane Industrial Park, which houses such companies as Alcon, Hercules International, Engines Inc., and others. And then we also want to talk about the HADCO Business Park. This was developed to help facilitate industrial expansions in the area, including Alcon Laboratories, which located its north site inside the industrial park. We own a 100,000 square foot metal warehouse building that's really built for manufacturing with 3 drive-in doors and 4 dock doors, 483 phase power, and served by a new sewage package plant inside the industrial park. We also have 65 additional acres, including the north end of the site that has newly built gas, water, and sewer distribution lines, as well as a newly constructed access road. So now that you know a little bit more about our organization, Morgan, what do you say you tell them a little bit more about the West Virginia Development Office?
Sure, absolutely. And I'm seeing on the chat that people are having some sound issues. Maybe if you switch to audio only, that might help for some of you all.
Should be.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on. I am going to talk a little bit to you all about my team with the West Virginia Development Office. So the West Virginia Development Office is the economic development agency for the state. We actually operate under the West Virginia Department of Commerce, which includes several agencies that you've heard of, such as DHHR, Tourism, Office of Energy, Workforce West Virginia, and more. So our office consists of both attraction managers and retention managers. Our attraction team handles project leads for new investment in West Virginia. And then our retention team, like myself, work with existing West Virginia companies. We also have an international team, workforce and training, and research teams who support in these efforts as well. But most importantly, as a retention rep, I'm here just to thank you and our existing industries for the investment in our state. Without you all, we cannot obtain our ultimate goal, which is to create jobs in West Virginia. So thank you for all of those that are on the call and all the dedication that you've given to our state. So as I mentioned earlier, I handle a 12-county territory, which you can see here on the screen. There are 4 other retention managers in our office throughout the state, and we all work with our regional local economic development agencies, such as with HADCO, but we also work with local chambers, regional educational institutions, and of course other state agencies to provide support to whatever our West Virginia businesses need. And you're going to hear more about our team's resources throughout today's presentation.
That's great information, Morgan. So now let's talk about the Business Retention Expansion Program. This is the main vehicle that Morgan and I use to deliver resources to the business community. So HADCO manages a dynamic Business Retention Expansion Program for Cabell and Wayne counties, as does Morgan for the development office in her 12-county region. Morgan and I work together to develop projects from the ground up, focusing on delivering resources that expand our local companies' capacities for growth and that help to capture that investment by supporting new private investment. Through our program, we hope to build a working and lasting relationship with area companies. We work with companies to uncover potential challenges, opportunities. We help to deliver high-level programs and resources to area businesses. We also help connect local companies with potential customers, with suppliers, contract opportunities. Finally, we support expansions of existing business by connecting businesses with shovel-ready sites, by connecting businesses with low-cost public and private finance options, and really most importantly, by championing projects at the state and local level. One of the major goals of today's presentation is to provide a detailed overview of the programs and resources that we leverage for this. Morgan, is there anything else that you can add?
Yeah, from the business retention standpoint and from my perspective, I like for companies to consider me their state concierge, for lack of better terms. I may not have the solution, but we will find you the contact for the solution. And my promise to you is that I will follow up with any questions you may have in a timely fashion. You may have questions such as, do you have a road issue? Or maybe you can't find training for your team. Or maybe you aren't sure how to ship something to Greece, for example. But you can call me and I'm here to help. And these are going to be some of the things that we talk through today.
Those are great points, Morgan. And so let's get to why we're all here today. It's today's presentation. We have 3 goals today. One is to provide some insight into trends and impacts that Morgan and I have observed throughout the region as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. As mentioned before, Morgan and I have devoted most of our time and energy the past 4 months really to engage in the local business community. The information that we've collected during our meetings has really helped to drive some of the changes that we're trying to implement moving forward. The second goal is to provide an overview of those available state and local resources that we've mentioned. And the third is to really show how our organizations, as well as various local partnering groups that we work with, are beginning to retool and rethink through some of these programs to help companies meet today's challenges.
Yeah, you're right, Adam. At the core of what we do, you're fine. Just want to say that, we want to engage with our business community. So some of the resources that you'll hear today have been around for a long time, while others have been refocused due to the pandemic. So whether you're familiar with some of these or not, we just hope today provides you with at least one valuable takeaway that can assist you as you grow your business. Okay, Adam, we can move on to the next one. So to begin, I'd just like to share some of the feedback that we have received over the last several months with talking to businesses. HADCO has always been a great partner to me with outreach and retention visits, and I really appreciate their partnership and the community. But in addition to the observations that I've heard with HADCO, I'm also going to share what I've seen across my region. So as you can imagine, most companies have seen a steep revenue decline during this pandemic, which means that companies have weakened capital moving forward. We've heard as high as a 65% decline, but most reported an average about 15 to 20% decline in sales. As you've probably heard in the news, automotive, aerospace, and luxury items have all been hit significantly. However, we've also spoken with some companies that have been breaking records due to the unprecedented demand. Obviously, we kind of expect to see this demand with items like medical products and cleaning supplies. But what's really been interesting is the demand for home-related items and hardware. I guess, Adam, we've all been just sitting at home realizing we need to finally finish that home project. But secondly, due to the pandemic, some companies have been adapting to meet the demand for certain products. And I'm sure everyone on the call has probably read about the distilleries making hand sanitizer. But have you ever wondered who's stepping up to make the plastic shields at the grocery stores, or who's producing all of these masks? I think it's been really refreshing to see companies thinking outside of the box to meet some of the strange demands we have today. A third major change we have seen is the adaptation to social distancing. Businesses must now meet the growing safety concerns for employees. They have to now provide masks and sanitizers, and they've increased their cleaning, which means they're buying more cleaning supplies. And this is increasing their operating expenses. But on top of this added cost, they're now needing more space within the facilities to be able to meet social distancing guidelines. And that means that there's sometimes a decrease in production. So overall, companies are actually working slower at a greater cost.
Yeah, I think those are some big challenges companies are facing, Morgan. I also think it's important to recognize that where we do see challenges, we also see opportunities. The cancellation of industry trade events, for instance, has created a lot of space and momentum for companies to explore digital advertising, to do website enhancements, and to really go after an innovative virtual engagement. And we have been able to help deliver some resources to support those efforts. Also, the unprecedented unemployment levels reached in recent months has actually deepened the available labor pool and increased the number of hireable employees who qualify for on-the-job training reimbursement incentives, which Morgan will address later. And so finally, as Morgan already alluded to, new markets are opening for products and services such as personal protective equipment, digital services, innovative manufacturing and business solutions, as are domestic supplier and reshoring opportunities. And so I think the programs that we are about to highlight can really help local companies capture those opportunities.
Thanks, Adam. Yeah, so now that we've identified some of the changes that Adam and I have seen here locally and regionally, we're going to dive into 5 program resources that we're covering in today's presentation. So you'll see on the slide here 5 icons. So from left to right, we're going to discuss capital resources, supply chain solutions and business-to-business services, attracting and retaining talent, export promotion and access to international markets, and lastly, alternative resources and programs. So we will highlight opportunities for you under each of these categories. And for time, we will merely touch on these from a bird's eye view. But if you're interested in learning more about anything we mentioned today, please contact us after the webinar, and we would be happy to connect you to the subject expert. Bottom line, there's just so much available and so many programs out there. So grab a pen and paper in case you're interested in something, and let's get started.
Okay, so I'm going to take us off here, and we're going to first talk about capital resources. I think the first resource area, first I think we need to discuss available federal resource programs associated with the CARES Act. Just kind of give an overview of that very quickly. First, I want to mention that these programs have changed drastically since the beginning of the pandemic. They continue to evolve. New legislation, federal rules changes, overhauls have made providing up-to-date information on these programs a real challenge. I do want to highlight the 3 most widely used programs, though, through the CARES Act, and that would be the Economic Injury and Disaster Loan Program, or EIDL program, Paycheck Protection Program, and the Small Business Debt Relief Program. So the EIDL program began accepting applications from qualified businesses on June 15, 2020, after being paused for more than 2 months. Initially, this program was endowed with $10 billion through the CARES Act, but through additional legislation, $60 billion has actually been added to it. The program offers 30-year term loans at 3.75% interest. Now, the max loan amount for this loan program has typically been $2 million, but due to the constraints of the pandemic, Small Business Administration has unofficially capped the max loan amounts to $150,000. West Virginia actually ranks 50th in the nation in terms of loan allocation per business, which is not good, and it shows that the business community is being underserved at the federal level, at least. So in addition to this, borrowers can only use funds for working capital related to economic injury through this program. The Paycheck Protection Program, it's a forgivable loan program that has provided much needed relief to small businesses. It's allowed many of our employees to retain employees and avoid costly furloughs. This program has changed drastically since its launch, and they actually just, as of June 30th, the program had stopped accepting applications, but now they've reopened the application, and the deadline to submit an application for PPP funding is now August 8th. For many employers who did submit an application already and receive funding, they now have a period of 24 weeks or until the end of 2020 to execute the forgivable portion of the loan. This is up from 8 weeks in the initial legislation period. The loan amount is the same, but employers have more flexibility in implementing the program funding. Now employers only have to spend about 60% of the funds on payroll, which is down from 75%. And for loans that aren't forgiven, they've been given 5-year repayment terms at 1% interest instead of 2-year repayment terms when the program was first legislated. So even when not forgiven, these loans still do represent an extremely low interest and loan with favorable terms that many employers have taken advantage of. Finally, the SBA, Small Business Administration, is paying 6 months of the principal and interest and fees on existing SBA loans. This is through the Small Business Debt Relief Program. So if you have an existing SBA loan, like a 7A or a 504 loan, your banking partner should not be collecting during the period from March 27th of this year through September 27th. So if you are making payments, you should request those payments back because SBA is making those payments to your banking institution. Okay. So the federal government has yet to enact any programs that are built for the long-term recovery. As we talked about before, CARES Act programs only go so far. Current programs offer no real solutions to address increased operating and capital needs in the face of COVID. For instance, a restaurant hoping to use disaster loan funds for an improvement to a building, such as the paving of a patio area, creating drive-through windows, installing plexiglass in between booths to facilitate social distancing, they wouldn't be able to use the funds to do those. So this really makes the capital programs that we're about to discuss really vital for long-term recovery.
Yeah, Adam, you mentioned that information is ever changing. Actually, right before we started this webinar, the West Virginia SBA sent out an email stating that they're going to be doing Q&A Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2. So if anyone has any questions about the new PPP, that's certainly a resource you could check out. So on this next slide, we've got some other capital resources opportunities, and we'll start with one that's actually within our state government. The West Virginia Economic Development Authority, which not to be confused with the West Virginia Development Office, is the financial lending arm for the state. So the WVEDA is empowered to borrow money and issue bonds, and they can actually furnish money for the promotion of business development projects. The EDA offers several programs, including loan insurance, tax-exempt industrial development bonds, and foreign investment trade zones. But the program I want to touch on briefly is the direct loan program, which is mentioned here on the screen. So West Virginia companies and eligible industries can apply for $50,000 up to $10 million in loans through the WVEDA. But what's so great about this product is that it is a low interest fixed rate loan. The EDA can participate in 45% of eligible assets, and they can partner with a participating lender. Then the applicant must inject 10% equity into the project.
So Morgan, let me just interject really quickly to talk about a couple of the federal capital programs. Very similarly to the WVDA capital programs, West Virginia Small Business Development Center, SBDC, which is available, it's an available resource to small businesses around the state. They offer access to 2 federal loan programs that I think should be considered essential to long-term recovery. The first, and I think the more vital of the two, is the SBA 7A loan program, and the second is the SBA 504 loan program. So just very quickly, the 7A loan program, it's the more flexible of the two. It allows borrowers to access funds for everything from working capital to real estate acquisition, refinancing existing debt, purchase of machinery and equipment. The SBA actually guarantees as much as 85% of the total loan amount on those, and that really lowers the borrower's equity and collateral requirements, in addition to also offering generous term lengths and flexibility in the underwriting process. So I think especially now with in the face of COVID, first-time borrowers who have experienced kind of historic revenue declines, they may actually require those program guarantees to access capital of any kind, especially if the capital market starts to dry up. So the 504 loan program, it's less flexible, but it's really built for that large-scale investment project that has job creation. The program works with a third-party entity known as a CDC, Certified Development Company, and they provide 40% of the loan after a banking lender provides 50% and the equity partner provides the applicant provides their 10% equity. So by spreading their risk through a 50-40-10 model, banking lenders are more likely to engage in long-term debt financing for large-scale real estate and development deals. I think those two programs are really necessary now that companies have undergone historic revenue loss. They're going to need some of those program guarantees to access capital for their large-scale projects. I just wanted to mention that, Morgan. So back to you.
Thanks. Yeah, these are some great loan options, but along with that and beyond that, the development office can also assist companies with identifying different tax credits that you can utilize. And I'm not going to submerge into the tax world, but I do want to highlight just a few. So the first on the screen here is the manufacturing and investment tax credit. It offsets the corporate net income tax to manufacturers that can create, expand, or revitalize their industrial facility. So this credit can be up to 5% of any qualified investment you put into your facility, which can include a purchase of equipment or machinery. The second one here is the economic opportunity tax credit, which was created to promote net employment growth within West Virginia. And when you create jobs due to your business's growth, the state can provide a tax credit to offset the additional taxes that would have been directly attributable to the qualified investment in new jobs. So this credit is available to companies creating 20 new jobs over the course of 3 years. The eligible companies must meet a certain industry sector, but there's a wide range from manufacturing to information processing, warehousing, distribution, and even destination-oriented tourism. And speaking of tourism, I wanted to add this in. I'd like to briefly mention the West Virginia Tourism Development Act. This credit was recently renewed in the last legislative session and will be eligible through 2025. It offers a credit of collected consumer sales tax to qualified destination tourism projects. And it's a great product for tourism to use because 25% of the investment can be issued back to the company over the course of 10 years. So these are just a few of the available tax credits, but all of our credits can be found on the West Virginia Tax Department website.
And Morgan, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of Wayne County companies have recently taken advantage of that tourism tax credit, right?
Yeah, we actually have some in the area that are utilizing that right now. It's a great tool and honestly one of the best tourism credits in the country.
Okay, so to kind of wrap up on capital resources, I do want to talk about some of our resource partners and some of their loan programs, capital programs. The first I'd like to call out is the Wyoming County Economic Development Authority. They maintain a loan fund with a variety of lending opportunities for new and existing small businesses throughout the state. Loan amounts are typically small, capped at $50,000. The Wyoming County Economic Development Authority is actually enacted a new program, though, the Covid-19 Emergency Relief Loan Fund. And this offers an upfront 6-month deferment on their loans, and it actually allows for forgiveness of the final 6 months of payments if that business remains operational and current on payments for a period of 5 years. So an eligibility form is available online now. and the loan fund is anticipated to launch sometime this summer. Again, that's through the Wyoming County Economic Development Authority. Another great loan program is the First Microloan of West Virginia. This offers fixed-rate commercial loans between $5,000 and $50,000. Loans are typically lent to small businesses and startups that do not have access to capital through a traditional banking lender. So traditionally, not many lenders will make term loans at the microloan level. So this is really a good resource for companies of a certain size, I think. Another resource program that folks in the area have taken advantage of recently is the Mid-Atlantic Trade Adjustment Assistance Center, which is it's a federal economic development administration program, which provides technical assistance funding for the funding of something like legal fees for patent approval. They've got funds to research and development and for product testing, all related to the launch of new and innovative products and services. MATTAC actually must certify you, though, your company as being trade impacted, and your company must show consecutive quarters of declining sales in order to qualify for that funding. But it is another available resource for technical funding assistance. And then finally, I'd like to highlight the Local Initiatives Support Corp Small Business Grant Program. So Truist Bank, formerly BB&T Bank and SunTrust, after their merger, so Truist has donated $5 million toward the fund. And LISC is offering $10,000 mini grants for small businesses, particularly minority and women-owned businesses in rural communities. Funds can be used for rent, utilities, immediate operating expenses. So round 4 of this funding closed as of late June, but a 5th funding round is actually opened up for applicants on July 27th. Okay, I know that was a lot to take in, so let's move on to our next resource area, which is supply chains. So supporting and developing integrated supply chains is another area that our offices emphasize. COVID-19, I think, has placed an added importance on domestic supply chains and even on finding sources of redundant local supplier sources in the event of critical supplier shortages. Many in leadership see domestic supplier capacities as an area of national security importance even, which could open up opportunities for government contracting, governmental purchase guarantees, and other federal assurances. There are several initiatives that our office undertakes to develop regional supplier capacities. The first is our annual business visit with businesses. During our annual visit, we inquire about service and product offerings and about specific supplier needs that are currently serviced outside of the region. This really gives us information that we can provide to companies throughout Morgan's 12 county coverage territory, throughout the state, throughout the region. Provide that info to companies who may be seeking regional supplier partners. When we uncover supplier needs, which we sometimes do, we're happy to facilitate meetings and to make recommendations on your behalf. The second initiative undertaken with our partners at the Robert C. Byrd Institute is called the B2B Marketplace. This is the business-to-business marketplace. It's an online web portal with many hundreds of local companies registered with active profiles. Companies are free to use the database to find registered businesses in virtually every supplier field represented in the region, ranging from machine shops to professional services. And we've got documented success stories as late as this week even of suppliers finding supplier value through the B2B marketplace. The third initiative is undertaken with partners such as RCBI, also with the West Virginia Manufacturing Extension Program. That is the development of qualified suppliers through the implementation of quality certification programs. So our team actually has experience identifying supplier opportunities within the community, working with local service providers to upscale service offerings to meet those demands. For instance, Robert C. Byrd Institute's experienced staff can work with your suppliers to launch and maintain ISO quality standards such as ISO quality and environmental standards, and industry-specific certifications such as AS 9100 standards for aerospace and TS 16949 standards for the automotive industry. Experts at the West Virginia Manufacturing Extension Program, for example, could work with your company, your supplier partner to upgrade their OSHA occupational health and safety standards, among many other quality and process improvement programs. So Finally, our office undertakes, as a fourth initiative, industry-specific supplier events. So these are events that we host where we work with the purchasing staff of a large-scale OEM-type company in the region and to promote supplier opportunities to companies around the state. These events are designed to provide sales opportunities to local service providers and suppliers, as well as foster supplier solutions for our quote-unquote prime companies. In the past, we've hosted events in the automotive sector and the chemical and polymer sectors. And actually coming up next week, we're actually hosting an event with Steel West Virginia. So Steel West Virginia is one of our area's largest employers, and the company is going to be engaging the local business community over a video conference call to talk about supplier opportunities and vendor requirements. The event's going to take place on July 14th, and we're planning additional follow-up meetings on July 23rd. We're encouraging anyone who's interested in working with Steel West Virginia to attend the event, and up to 15 companies will be selected to take part in individual one-on-one meetings with the purchasing staff of Steel West Virginia. So if you're on the call and you're interested in doing work with Steel West Virginia, please reach out to us. We'll help you get registered, and we look forward to seeing you at that event. Okay, now Morgan is going to switch gears and talk about attracting and retaining talent.
Thanks, Adam. All right, so our next topic is an important one because it's all about your workforce. We have a lot of professionals within state government who are prepared to assist you in both cultivating and retaining your team. So within the West Virginia Development Office, we have a team dedicated to workforce and training for both incoming and existing West Virginia industries. One of our most widely used tools, which you'll see on the screen here, is the Governor's Guaranteed Workforce Program. It can reimburse employers up to 50% or up to $2,000 per employee for the training of new workers due to your business's growth or for the upskilling of current employees. So, for example, if you are going to invest in let's say a new piece of machinery, and it requires some of your workers to learn a new skill set, our team can help identify a trainer and then provide a reimbursement for the cost of that training. These dollars can also cover the cost for an employee to travel to a training, and it can help bring a trainer to your facility. So this is one of the programs that we are refocusing due to COVID-19. Our team is reminding employers that the program can cover online training as well, which allows employers flexibility while their staff work from home. So one important item to note about this particular program is that you must submit an application and be awarded the money prior to you facilitating the training. So if you have an upcoming training in mind, contact me so I can put you in touch with my team. Another way we can help you cultivate your workforce is through an apprenticeship program. Apprenticeship in Motion, or AIM, promotes and expands non-traditional apprenticeships in West Virginia in a variety of industries. So if you don't know, apprenticeships are a combination of classroom and on-the-job training for your staff. And nationwide, apprenticeship numbers are actually growing. They've grown 68% since 2013, and there's now more than 633,000 participating apprentices as of 2019. So the way it works is the U.S. Department of Labor has created instructional guidelines for specific apprenticeships, but they have over 1,000 different recognized occupations. But you can also work with the Department of Labor to get your own unique program registered as well. Lastly, you have probably heard of Workforce West Virginia during the pandemic due to their management of unemployment claims. But did you guys know that they too have training monies available? Now, although there are a few different programs, the on-the-job training program is one that several companies in this area utilize heavily. The program offers a 50% salary reimbursement for an employee's first 320 hours to employers who hire a recently displaced worker that's registered in Workforce West Virginia. So this program benefits both the employee who is learning and the employer who is trying to find the right fit. Again, we're just highlighting a few of the options, but let us know if you have any questions about these programs or if you want to learn more. Okay, let's move on to our next topic, which is export promotion. So the West Virginia Development Office has an international team that recruits foreign investment into West Virginia. And fun fact for those who don't know, but we have over 130 international companies from 30 countries in West Virginia. I just think that's so cool. We have such a fruitful relationship with Japan. We actually have an office there with 2 employees. So international investment is really important to our team. Additionally, we have a team that works with existing industries by helping them with export initiatives. And our export team works with a wide range of companies, from companies exporting already, but maybe they want to enter a new market, to companies that got an order from another country and don't even know where to start. But regardless of your business's background in exporting, we welcome any conversation with our West Virginia businesses. Personally, I have to say, I thought it's been really exciting to hear about local companies that are pushing through the pandemic because of exporting and they're reaching new customers. And actually, I just spoke with a company last week that landed a handful of new European customers because of a grant they won, and shared with me that those orders have helped keep them going during this time. Now, how awesome is that? I mean, exporting was achievable for that small business, and it can be for you too. So, my family often jokes that you don't know what you don't know, but for those who haven't exported before, you may be saying, well, I don't even know where to start or what to ask. Just know we have a team ready to assist you with whatever question you have about exporting. We can provide solutions for shipping or helping you determine what's the best country for you to start with, or maybe just answer some of the tougher questions like legal considerations. So in addition to answering your questions about exporting, we also offer some tools for our West Virginia industry partners. Specifically today, I'm going to talk about trade shows, trade missions, and STEP funding. First of all, our team actively participates in foreign trade shows in specific industries annually, and we welcome West Virginia companies to join us. We can cover the cost of the exhibit and booth, and it makes it a feasible and a great opportunity for West Virginia companies to join us. We can also evolve a trade show into what we call a trade mission. Our team partners with our international connections to find interested companies in the foreign market you are interested in entering. And we can actually set up meetings for you while you are in that country for the trade show, and you can get FaceTime with an international investor without the stress of knowing where to start. So typically our trade missions are in person, but due to the pandemic, the next one is actually going to be virtual. And I'm sorry to say it's a bummer that it is too, because it's with the Caribbean. But if you're interested in a trade mission, let me know after the webinar and I'll connect you with my colleagues. So lastly, we offer a marketing grant called STEP, which provides funding to West Virginia small businesses looking to enter or expand into a new global marketplace. And recent CARES Act changes have allowed some more flexibility to these funds, and they can be used for things like digital marketing upgrades. If you're unsure what you might be able to use this for, I'll give you some examples. So prior grant winners have used the funds to send direct mailers to targeted companies. I know a company just recently translated their website into another language. And sometimes these monies can be to help cover the cost for you to travel with us to a trade show. So that's a lot of information, but for those of you who are on the call that have never considered exporting, I hope I've maybe opened up the idea of it to you. Regardless of your history with exports, if your company is interested in just talking about it and learning more, we would love to chat about the benefits and tell you more about our programs. Okay, we are now in the final section of our resources, which is honestly a miscellaneous bucket of organizations that we really just want to make you aware of. Economic development truly takes a village, and we have some other great partners beyond just us and HADCO that are here to help you as well. So first of all, I have listed here our West Virginia Community and Technical College System. We partner with them and actively share what we hear in retention visits that are some of the jobs that are in demand, so that they can offer programs to prepare students for jobs here in West Virginia. And additionally, some of them will actually facilitate trainings, and that's another great way for you to partner with them. But the best resource they offer, in my opinion, is what is called the Learn and Earn program. It can match an employer to a student with a specific skill set, and the state will actually cover half of the employee's wages while the student works for the employer and seeks their degree.
Morgan, just very quickly, Mount West Community Technical College, they could provide assistance to that program through the Learn and Earn?
Yeah, great point. So Mount West would be Huntington's regional community and technical college system. And yeah, that is one thing they could help with. For those of you on the call that might be closer to Charleston, we also work with Bridge Valley in that direction as well. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Adam. Okay, so the second thing here is Advantage Valley. They're another partner that focuses on the Huntington to Charleston corridor. Adam mentioned them earlier. They're actively engaging investors for new investment opportunities, but they actually help current employers too through local supply chains and retention efforts. Actually, they're one of the hosts on the supply chain event Adam spoke about earlier, and they also work with Adam in his efforts in retention. Adam, do you want to mention anything about them?
Yeah, I mean, Advantage Valley is a great partner, resource partner for us. We work with Advantage Valley in a number of arenas. You mentioned the supplier event that they help host and promote. Advantage Valley actually also has access to something called the West Virginia FASTER program, or actually FASTER West Virginia grant. That is a federally funded loan pool that is available to new businesses in areas such as food production and tourism. So if there are new business starts in these arenas, they've got loan resources through that program, as well as technical assistance. So, but yeah, Advantage Valley is a great partner for us, sure.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up the FASTER grant program. So we also maintain relationships with our utility partners, and in some cases, we actually partner with them to cultivate new investment or expansion. If you have a problem in this area, we're happy to connect you with them. I think it's important for you all to have a good relationship with your utilities for many reasons anyways, but one is because they sometimes offer expansion or efficiency grants. Like I know Appalachian Power actually has an opportunity for grant funding as well. So we've covered some of the state resources and agencies that I have listed here, but I want to take a moment and just acknowledge some of the ones I think you should be familiar with as a business. So our Small Business Development Center employs several small business coaches that offer one-on-one coaching and free training for small business and entrepreneurs. We actually have one housed here in Huntington, and we would be more than happy to introduce you to her. Secondly, we have the Development Office's sister agency, West Virginia Office of Energy. They can offer free energy audits to facilities, and they can help discuss energy options with your company. They also just started a micro grant partnered with the Jackson County Development Authority, and it awards small businesses for making energy efficiency improvements. So if you're thinking about like updating your lighting, for example, this would be a great resource for you. The last point I'll briefly touch on is the Industrial Access Road Program. I kind of mentioned at the beginning of this presentation with ServiceWire. This program is through our office and the Division of Highways. The program can pay for up to $400,000 in unmatched monies to the construction of a new road, or it can make an upgrade to a road due to a large investment. Or you're going to build a new building and you have road repairs, that's something we can definitely talk to you about. So we don't have time to cover all of the available resources in today's webinar, but Adam and I just want to drive home how many programs are available. And if you have a problem or maybe even just an idea, we want you to know that we're here to partner with you however
we can. Okay, Morgan, before we wrap up alternative resources, I just wanted to kind of call out specifically the Robert C. Byrd Institute for Advanced Manufacturing as a local resource partner of particular interest. I think COVID-19 has presented companies with challenges as well as opportunities. And for companies that are realigning their product and service offerings to serve new and emergent market demands, Robert C. Byrd Institute has many tools and programs that they offer that can help companies make that transition. RCBI's suite of advanced manufacturing equipment is available for companies to use. They allow companies to perform limited production runs, to respond to short-term contract opportunities, to test market viability of new products without making large-scale investments in new equipment. Their production level equipment at the Huntington facility includes an industrial press brake, laser cutter, wire EDM, CNC lathes and mills, Ferro robotics arm, multiple state-of-the-art 3D printers that work with advanced composite materials. RCBI also gives you the opportunity to work with experienced engineering staff who can help design and produce working prototypes of new products utilizing the available advanced software programming and high-tech equipment. So there really is no end to the potential that these resources can serve to you. And as an added bonus, RCBI has early stage funding opportunities to help move your project along. So there's likely a funding resource as well to help aid in the promotion of that project. So I just wanted to mention that specifically. So I think now we're going to conclude. I know that this has been a tremendous amount of information. We hope that you've learned something new today. To recap, we've talked at length about 5 specific resource areas: capital resources, for instance, supply chain solutions and business-to-business services, attracting and retaining talent, which is essential to area employers, export promotion and access to international markets. West Virginia Development Office has so many great programs in that area, and state and local resource partner agencies have a lot of resources as well. We didn't get to all of them, as Morgan said today. There are a lot out there. We'd love to connect you with them. So to conclude, I would like to add that Morgan and I would love the opportunity to connect with you again, either in person or via video or phone conference for one of our business retention visits. If we haven't connected with you before or in the recent past, we'd love to learn more about your company and its needs. Morgan, why don't we open up the floor for any questions? If you have a question, please submit it in the chat function at the bottom of the screen, and I will pull up we'll see if we've got any questions.
Yeah,
Morgan,
I'm going to turn on my video on here if you all have some questions. We have one from our friend Margaret Mary Lane, who I owe a shout out to because she opened up her Wi-Fi to us today in her office. So thank you. She asked if you applied for the corporate
Morgan,
small business.
Can you repeat that, Morgan? You cut out for a second.
Oh, sorry. She asked if you applied for the local initiative support small business grant program in the last round, but you didn't get it. Can you reapply in the new round? And Margaret Mary, I looked it up, and it said that your application doesn't automatically roll over. You actually have to apply again, but you are allowed to do so. So you can go ahead and apply for the second round. Yes. Yeah, it's a pretty short application from what I've seen. We worked with one company that applied for it. I know for sure, a local entrepreneur here in Huntington. So it was a very straightforward application. I know that. Yeah, that could be a great resource. That's actually open to, I believe it's in 17 states, and whatever BB&T and Truist, whatever Truist footprint is, they've opened it up to that. So it's also available to companies in Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia. It's a multi-state grant program, but yeah. Yeah, and no other questions, but I will just throw out, is there any way that we can maybe help those of you who are on the call? Is there something specifically that you were looking for here today that maybe we can follow up with you later? We'd love to hear that in the chat box as well.
Actually, I do see one from Michael Day. I believe that's Mike. Yeah, he's asking if we can get a copy of the PowerPoint slides. Yes, Mike, we do plan to send these PowerPoint slides out to everybody. We'll also hopefully be able to make a recording of this available. So we've been recording this, so the entire presentation will be available, and we'll send the PowerPoint slides out to everyone who participated today.
All right, I think that's...
Anybody has anything else? All right, Morgan, well, that looks like it's all the questions that we have. I'll just say, just to end, on behalf of the Huntington Area Development Council, I do want to thank you all for participating in today's webinar. We're going to send out the slide deck, and we'll welcome any other further questions that you might have. Just send them to us directly, and we'll be happy to respond to you.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. And Adam, if you can throw up that last slide there, he's going to put up our contact information. So if you don't already have it, he's going to put our phone number and our email address. I just want to say on behalf of the state, thank you all so much for participating today. We hope that you took at least one detail that was new to you. The West Virginia Development Office and NAVCA are both here to serve your company as you're entering into this new phase of the pandemic. Anything that we can do to help, please reach out to us. We're here however we can to support you. So that concludes today's webinar. Thank you all so much and have a great afternoon. Take care.
Okay. Bye, everybody.